Hi, this is a tutorial on how to use the Total Impact Report of the Change Compass. Now, to get to the Total Impact Report, you simply go to the Report section, click Total Impact, and then you see the report. Now, it follows a very similar layout as a lot of our other reports. You can see that there's the filter sections at the top. So on the left-hand side, there's the initiative filter section, and the right-hand side, the impact filter sections. So you're able to search by initiative, the company strategy, by clicking the drop-down button here, the owner of the initiative, the type of change, and as well as the contact. On the other hand, you can also search based on impact. So you could search based on which division you're looking at, subdivision, the team, the various change activities that you're looking at, geography, stakeholder groups, and of course the time range. And again, like the other reports, you're able to simply drag this date range to get the right date that you're looking for. Now, just to note, like the other reports we have, if you've just entered a few initiatives, it may not be uploaded into the report data immediately. So in that case, all you do if you want to see the data immediately, all you do is to click this refresh report button over here like so, and you'll see the data actually refreshing. Now, next to that button is the download report button, where you'll see a pop-up that allows you to download this as a PDF, like so. Now, let's go ahead and have a look at the forecasted impact levels. Now, this is data by week. So you notice that most weeks have 5 weeks, and it would only show those with data. Now, if we look at this particular graph, you can see that it kind of goes up and down, and the measure here is actually hours of impact, because this is basically calculated using the level of change that's been inputted into each of the initiatives. So if you look at, say, week 3 and click on this bar, you could see all the various initiatives that's actually happening within that week across the organization. And so that totals to be around 300 hours of impact. Now we could actually go ahead and select it by clicking on the same week of the bar, and you can see that it would then deselect, and you get the full blue color that you saw previously. Now, let's say if you wanted to really look at a part of the division, let's say the bank operations division. Now we could see that there is a ton of changes going on. If we click on, let's say, the first week of July, we'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 initiatives that impact that part of the division. And now what does this line mean at the top? Now, this is the change tolerance level. So the only way to really to input this line is actually, number one, it's actually your administrator would be the person inputting the data, and how he or she would basically upload the data is they would basically look at previous history of the amount of change, which this is really representing at an aggregate week by week over time. And let's say that for bank operations in the past X number of months, they've actually found that any time that it exceeded 80 in terms of hours, it became really unworkable for that part of the business. So therefore, that was really deemed to be change tolerance. Now you might think, how does someone really determine that? So to really determine that, you would really need to work with that part of the business to look at their performance, to look at to what extent employees may have negative feedback about too much change and how that's really impacting the operations. Now, that type of data, your operations manager or operations rep would really know that. It's their job to know how things are running, whether it's smooth or things a little bit chaotic based on what's happening in the business. So using that data and feedback, you would then determine what is the optimal level of change beyond which there is too much. So we call this a change tolerance level, or you could call it as the change saturation level as well. So they basically mean the same thing. So the other line you will see here is the resourcing level. Now, the resourcing level could be quite important for parts of the business where they're very sensitive to time. So it could be your call center, for example, where they really measure everything by minutes, right? Now, you could go ahead and upload the resourcing chart for that part of the business. In this case, we've selected IT. So now you see this yellow line. Now, how do we use this yellow line? So it could be that the resourcing level goes up and down, and it could be that at one point the resourcing level goes up, and we don't have a lot of change level as perceived by the business. Now that could mean that things are well, you don't have any risk to worry about in terms of people not having the capacity to undergo change. However, if you find that things are dipping, and if at the same time there's a high volume of change, then it could mean that do we have sufficient capacity in terms of those people who need to undergo change activities, or are they all away serving customers or any vacation and other things? So that could be a huge call out in terms of risk. So those are some of the things to look for in terms of how the resourcing chart maps over the total impact chart here. There's a little yellow piece of data called operational capacity loading that could be loaded here by the administrator as well. So if that does get uploaded, you'll see a yellow part of the bar on the bottom. Now, how do we use that? So what that means is basically, for example, again, if you're in the call center, and it could be that during that week you've got lots of roadshows, town halls, you've got special events that really eat into the time of the frontline and the call center agent, plus all the various changes. And so it could be that those total, when added together, equal to 120 hours per week. And so basically it just makes the calculation easier in terms of, okay, how many hours do I need the agent to serve the customer versus doing other change and BAU activities that I need to then forecast into my capacity. So that's really how we use this in addition to the change impact levels that you see here. Now you'll see that the resourcing level can be in any measure. So it could be in terms of FTEs, it could be in terms of time. It really doesn't matter, because what we're looking for is basically the trend of the up and down and how that compares to the weekly volume of change as indicated in each of these bar charts. Now, the selected initiative details here is the same as the other charts, such as the employee heat map or the customer heat map charts, or even the stakeholder chart, whereby you basically click a week or a part of the time, and you get to see the initiatives that impact that business during that period of time. So that's pretty much it for the total impact report.